the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content on info@millenniumnews24.com. Download the Millennium News 24 app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Stay tuned with Millennium TV and Millennium News 24 for the latest updates.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear viewers, আপনারা সবাই কেমন আছেন? আপনাদের সবাইকে আমাদের আজকের এই সম্ভাবনার বাংলাদেশ অনুষ্ঠানে আবারও সুস্বাগতম। আজকের রোববার সকাল 11টা আমেরিকান টাইম এবং বিকাল 4টা লন্ডন টাইম এবং রাত 9টা বাংলাদেশ টাইমে এই অনুষ্ঠানটি একযোগে প্রচারিত হচ্ছে মিলেনিয়াম টিভি ইন্টারন্যাশনাল, Milliennium News 24, and all the stream channel through the Apple TV, Jago BD, Roku TV, and also satellite channel. আপনারা সবাই আমাদের পাশে থাকুন। আমাদের সাথে আজকে একজন বিদেশি অতিথি আছেন যার নাম হচ্ছে মিস্টার কলিন শর্ট। উনি সাম্প্রতিক সময়ে আমাদের বাংলাদেশের ইতিহাসের অংশ হয়ে গিয়েছেন। He became the part of our history of the move returning to the democracy. আমাদের বাংলাদেশের গণতন্ত্রের যে নবযাত্রা হয়েছে এবং সেই নবযাত্রাতে যে পার্লামেন্টারিয়াল ইলেকশন হয়েছে এই বছরের ফেব্রুয়ারিতে, সেখানে উনি ব্রিটিশ পর্যবেক্ষক হিসেবে বাংলাদেশে সফর করেছেন। কিন্তু তিনি শুধু তার দায়িত্বের মধ্যে সীমাবদ্ধ থাকেননি। He, beside his duties and responsibilities, he also loved Bangladesh and the natural beauties of Bangladesh. Therefore, he have take an initiative to make a tour all over the Bangladesh from south to the north, west to the east. এবং এই ট্যুরের সাথে আমার সাথে ছিলেন আমাদের অত্যন্ত সম্মানিত একজন বাংলাদেশি বিজ্ঞানী, ঢাকা বিশ্ববিদ্যালয়ের প্রফেসর, শিক্ষাবিদ এবং শহীদ প্রেসিডেন্ট জিয়াউর রহমানের সময়কার একজন সায়েন্টিস্ট, যিনি শহীদ প্রেসিডেন্ট জিয়াউর রহমানের সরকারের সময়কালীন সময়ে বাংলাদেশকে বৈজ্ঞানিকভাবে বিভিন্ন সোলার এনার্জি থেকে শুরু করে এবং সাগরের পানিকে লবণ মুক্তিকরণ, যেটাকে ডিস্যালাইনাইজেশন প্রসেস, এবং গোবর ব্যবহার করে বায়োগ্যাস এবং ইলেকট্রিসিটি প্রডিউসের ব্যাপারে ওনার অবদান অনস্বীকার্য। ডক্টর হাসনাত হোসেন MBE, উনি ব্রিটিশ রানীর শিক্ষা বোর্ডের একজন সম্মানিত ফেলো এবং এই জন্য ওনাদেরকে বলা হয় MBE। ওনার সাথে মিস্টার কলিন শর্ট গিয়েছিলেন এবং ডক্টর হাসনাত হোসেন নিশ্চয় ধন্যবাদ পাওয়ার যোগ্য, যেহেতু উনি একজন বিদেশিকে বাংলাদেশকে নতুনভাবে পরিচয় করিয়ে দিয়েছেন এবং সেটাতে এত আকৃষ্ট হয়েছেন কলিন পাওয়াল, then he is considering, I don't know if it's true or not, but he is considering to apply for Bangladesh citizenship also beside his citizenship. So let's introduce with Mr. Colin Short. Welcome, Mr. Colin Short, to our show. This show is every week, 11 a.m. You have joined that show before our election observation team combination. So today's discussion will be more about the possibilities of Bangladesh and the tourism. Since you have traveled Sundarban, you have traveled the district called tea district, the green gold, which is tea leaves that you also drink while sitting in UK. All the tea are coming from Sylhet. The Sylhet has a lot of tea gardens where it has been established during the time when Bangladesh was ruled by the British Queen Victoria. Okay, so that tea became famous all over the world. It's called Sylhet tea, and of course you have been there with the Dr. Hassan Hussain. You also see the mountain of Himalayan Kanchenjunga from the upmost north, and while he was on the plane, and you have traveled and learned a lot of things that we like to hear from you. So first of all, Mr. Colin Short, what why not you tell about yourself little bit at the beginning? So প্রিয় দর্শক, মিস্টার কলিন শর্ট উনি আমাদেরকে ওনার সম্বন্ধে কিছুটা বলবেন, তারপর আমরা জানতে চাইবো কেন বা উনি উদ্বুদ্ধ হলেন বাংলাদেশকে নিয়ে ওনার আগ্রহটা হলো, আমরা সেটাও শুনবো প্রিয় দর্শক। Yes, go ahead, Mr. Colin. Sure.
Okay, well, funny enough, this year is the 50th year since I passed my degree at University of Electronic Engineering.
Okay.
And that took me on to working for what was then the Greater London Council as a systems engineer. And then with the demise of the Greater London Council, I moved to London Borough of Tower Hamlets, initially as a systems engineer, then moving into IT and networks initially. And that was where I met Dr. Hasnat Hussain. We were both on a civil service management course.
Okay.
And that was over 25 years ago. And that led to a long friendship with Dr. Hussain and eventually my trip to Bangladesh. Whilst working for Tower Hamlets, I continually worked each year on different elections, initially as a polling clerk, and then the last 25 years.
So you was also doing election duty?
Yes.
Okay.
So
in UK parliamentary election system?
Yes, we did parliamentary elections, referendum, European elections, and local elections for mayors and for council officers. So I've had a lot of experience in that. And the funny thing is that this year I've got elections in just beginning of May, probably a month's time. And for the first time, we're actually using an electronic list of all the people who can vote with a QR code. So it's now very, very similar now to what I saw in Bangladesh a few weeks ago. And that's a big improvement in the UK. So with Dr. Hussain, I've known him for probably over 25 years, and we've become really good friends. We're both interested in fishing ponds, and I've helped him and his family with their IT systems when there's been an issue. And I've got to meet quite a few of his friends and family over the years. So it's been really good. I've had some really good times with Dr. Hussain, and so that's what led us to go to Bangladesh. Back in January, I went to see him, and he asked me if I had a passport, and which I didn't at the time, and explained about the elections and asked would I like to come with him and become a foreign observer, subject to the government's approval. And so I said I would, and I got a passport, and then Dr. Hussain arranged for us to be all approved, himself, Simon Lee and Keith Best. And as you know, we spoke to a few weeks ago, all four of us. So the pictures you see now are all Dr. Hussain's family in Bangladesh. And this is when we was at Sundarban.
Yes.
There's Mr. Farouk,
yes.
my friend, and that's where he's hoping to run the
beautiful
ecotourism.
You have taken.
Yeah, this is
are you a camera specialist also? Like, is it photography is your hobby, or you are?
It's a hobby, yes. So, okay. Yes, it's a hobby, yeah. So
you are not afraid of the jungle Royal Bengal tiger, because sometimes the Royal Bengal tiger jump on the river.
I was hoping
they love human flesh.
Yes, I know. Well, it's not only that. I was understanding there's also crocodiles in the river as well.
Yeah, in the river. Yeah, there is crocodile in the river, and both sides. Because each of the Royal Bengal tiger, once they jump, they can actually go 22 yards with one jump.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you are in the range. So this narrow river, but it's a thrill. I mean, people are going there. It's not that only you went there.
Oh.
So sometimes they jump on the that they can swim also. They know how to swim.
Yes,
because they also sometimes they eat fish from the river.
Yes. Well, Dr. Hussain, it was always been a lifelong dream of Dr. Hussain to go
don't
there.
tell that you don't tell that story what I tell you about the Bengal tiger to your wife. So then she's gonna be afraid that why you go there, because in the river is crocodile. Also, the tiger can swim and come to the. Sometimes they really attack the people who are going actually. But the good thing is they know who are the foreigners. They don't attack the foreigners.
They're more tasty.
Tell me about your continue. So I'm going to interrupt, but yeah, you continue the thing he was there. So you were saying something about the election, yeah.
Yeah. So we just drop back a little because it's relevant to the boat that we was discussing. As when I retired back in a few years ago, and I've always been a fisherman since I was a little boy with my dad and my granddad and uncles, and I now do a lot of fishery management work, looking after fisheries, and we use boats a lot. And to be quite so being on the boat to me was quite normal. And even I go to France fishing, and there's a particular lake in France called Rainbow Lake, which is quite famous amongst fishermen.
So your another hobby is boating also.
Well, it's more of a work thing. But when we were in France at Rainbow Lake, although it's all fir trees and the area itself is very much like we saw in Sunderban, and so that was, and it reminded me a lot of the times I spent with France with my
maybe
friends.
I will invite you and your grandparent or your father, if they are still in the fishery business, they can maybe establish a fish processing factories in Khulna, because Khulna, the city, the district that Sundarban is located is called Khulna. I think you have been to the Khulna newsprint mill. It's also an old and very ancient city where there is a lot of factories there. In fact, where the Dr. Hasnat Hossain, his father, he was a government officer who worked in Khulna newsprint factories area. I don't know what was his profession. Probably he was an engineer or a doctor.
I think he was. I believe he was a vet, and he was a government. He worked for the government as a vet. And in some of the photographs I sent you,
right. So majority of the shrimp, the prawn that actually get processed in Khulna, they have hatcheries for the lobster sized shrimp.
Yes.
Have you seen those in the British restaurants? Of course you have seen.
No, they do have them here, but there's actually there's a story to all about shrimps, but
so
I'll do that later on.
Yes, so through your channel, because this program is going to be watched by your family, friends, or and many other entrepreneurs, for their kind information, the Sundarban is located in a climate where it is very much suitable for the sweetwater fish, which they are already exporting at $600 million revenue they earn by exporting only the shrimp, the big size, the blue shrimp. The one has the long legs.
Yeah.
The lobster size blue shrimp, very delicious. So they exported China, the UK, and of course UK is one of the fish importer country where the Bangladesh is the supplier. So if for your information or your channel with the relatives or the connectivities, they can establish the fish processing factories, and the government is now very much welcoming to the investor. So even if you build a factories for fish processing, so the fishermen, they can give you the fresh fish, so instantly you can cooler it down, you can process it with the ice, and then you can actually export. And Mongla has a seaport also. I'm sure you have been to that port as well, right?
I didn't go to the port, but one of the things that was explained to me was that part of the future of Bangladesh is actually they're building new roads to the coast in order to improve connectivity to the coast, so they can build additional ports for exporting. Because I believe you've only got one port in far south at the moment.
Which is in Chittagong. There's our main seaport in the Kornofuli Channel, the river channel where come the Bay of Bengal combined. Similarly, the Khulna has another port, their second port, which is called Mongla. It's part of it's one of the sub-district of Khulna district, where the Sundarban located. So when you go through, actually, when you travel to the Sundarban, I'm sure you ride on the boat or the speedboat from the Mongla. That's a big channel where the river is called Mongla River actually. So that
Yeah.
river actually went and marched to the submerged to the Bay of Bengal.
We actually drove from Cornwall down to Sundarban.
Yeah, it's
and there's a
beautiful.
stop-
I don't know. Well, I don't know. Have you been at the night time? So in 2003, I joined a marriage ceremony of my friend's sister, and at the night time we ride on such boat that you have ride on, and it was night time. It was a full moonlit night, and the waves, there was a gentle breeze, and the waves was shining with the moonlit, the light of the moon. So it was so beautiful. No human light, nothing, and it was a quieter, no engine boat sound, and that kind of, I never can forget that memory. We ride that boat for 45 minutes, and it was scary because the wave was not very quiet. It was kind of tidal wave because it's a channel, but it was unbelievable memory. So that's why I always tell to my friends in America, encourage them that we should see and tour to the all over the world. And for your kind information also, the longest sea beach that world holding now is in Bangladesh also, which is Cox's Bazar.
Wow.
And that you can drive. You can drive through that sea beach if you have a four-wheeler, or if you have a motorbike. You can drive through, which is the length of is 150 kilometer.
Yes.
So you can, and there's a marine drive, so you can drive through the beach on the sand of the beach.
Really?
Four-wheeler, truck or jeep, or maybe a motorbike, of course. So that's the longest sea beach in the world. And Sundarban is a world heritage, part of the world heritage, because of the habitat of the Royal Bengal tiger.
Yeah. I believe it's one of the last locations of the Royal Bengal tiger as well. There's quite a low number of tigers there, but I was lucky enough. I was lucky because when we went to Cornwall, we stayed at the Royal International Hotel run by Mr. Farouk,
Yeah,
who's become a really good friend now. And we went to his home, as you see. You've got some photographs of the meals he cooked for us and his wife cooked for us.
yes.
And we drove down to Sundarban with him, and it was a bit of an adventure really, because we drove down there, and it was a long journey from and we got there sort of the afternoon, just early afternoon, late morning probably, and we went out in the boat, as you've seen, to see the mangroves and to hopefully see the tigers.
The mangrove forest, one of the largest mangrove forest, which, thank you for reminding me that.
Yeah.
That's also a part of the heritage of the world heritage, that mangrove forest, Sundarban. So yes, you can campaign about the Sundarban to preserve the Sundarban. So if we stop burning the coal, and if we are using our environment in a good way, do not abuse our environment, then the Sundarban can be saved.
Yes.
This Sundarban
that's
the savior and the green.
That's one of the aims of Mr. Farouk. His son-in-law Nazmul. He helps to manage the Royal Tours, and until a few years ago, they used to run a tour to Sundarban. So you would get a boat, and it'd be a 2-day journey to Sundarban. Then you go into the forest, and Mr. Farouk has a nice sort of resort there, which unfortunately was damaged in a cyclone. So his plan is now to restore that.
There is a lot of,
bring in ecotourism. Yeah,
exactly.
So he actually wants to start off ecotourism, so it doesn't. You can get the tourist revenue for the local people, but it also doesn't damage the beautiful Sundarban Reserve.
It never gets damaged. It never get damaged because of the uses of the Sundarban, because the people who are daily basis earn the honey, the most organic and high quality honey. They never damage the Sundarban. They don't kill any animal. So the challenge is the monsoon monsoon cyclone, what you call like cyclone, or our area is called like monsoon storm.
Yeah.
So this Sundarban is about 6,600 square miles. It's a green belt. It's a green barrier which protecting the people of Bangladesh and also India, West Bengal from the big storm. But once,
Yes.
because of the sea height, the water sea level is rising up day by day because of the uh, world of climate change. So now the challenge was, even though Sundarban defend that life threatening storms, but because of the rise of the sea level, uh, the water that goes inside the mangrove forest, those sometimes some places remain stayed and leave the salt, which is killing the plantation.
Yes, but I mean, part of the issue from that is it won't be just the Sundarban, because
Not
all of
only that,
Bangladesh is low lying.
yeah,
It could affect all of a large majority of Bangladesh. Because one of the things we saw in our journeys was all the rice fields around, either side of the road, with people working in them, and lots of people by the houses. They got small ponds where they breed fish and they breed shrimps to sell as part of their income, and all those are under threat as well from climate change.
right. So we actually, through this program, we would also ask the UK government to continue their effort with the French, as they are the ally of other big countries like China, who is the most largest country who use the coal still, and India itself also using a lot of coal. And they expand their factories. India has expanded one of the factory just neck of the Sundarban, which is called Rampal. So it is less than 10 uh, kilometer distance from Sundarban, where they started a coal-based power plant in Rampal. And
Yes,
the challenge is the coal that is coming through the river channel of the Sundarban, and that actually happened several times, that the coal, with the full load of coal, the barge, the carrier, gets sunk in the water of the river channel of the Sundarban, and those water now get polluted. So the fish breeding massively strikes, and once the fish breeding get destructed or reduced tremendously, the birds that come to eat the fish, it's like a whole life cycle get affected.
yes. The
And
food web.
another thing, that the storm, the more and more storm affected Sundarban. So there are a lot of small ponds inside the Sundarban with the sweet water, that the reservoir of the rainwater for drinking the tiger, the deer. Of course, that there are a lot of beautiful thousands of
Yes,
deer. There's life channel cycle. The tiger eats the deer eats the grass. So if that break down, so the deer cannot drink the water, because deer always go to the drinking the water at the night time. You of course know that the deers they go with the group to drink water from the sweet water of those ponds in Sundarban, and those water are no longer there because of the storm. The tidal wave come
yeah,
and polluted those small ponds, not one pond, like thousands of ponds with the sweetwater reservoir in the Sundarban natural sweetwater reservoir, get salt water, and the deer cannot drink them. So eventually the deer get moved and migrated. Sometimes they come to the locality to drink
yes,
water from the river or from their local people ponds, and they get killed. So the deer number get reduced. So once tiger get hungry, they cannot eat their food, which is the deers. So they start attacking the people who lives nearby the suburban of the Sundarban area, not inside the jungle. They even sometimes come outside the jungle to prey, and they attack the
yes,
human. So this, see how the global warming impacting our lifestyle of the fishermen who lives near to the Sundarban, who go to fishing to the river channel through the Sundarban, they go to the Bay of Bengal to fish. But their life, once their life get affected, their house get break down or the tiger get attacking in the locality, so that whole system collapse. So I, with this channel, informing you those, so you can be our ambassador with your channel and connections to work more aggressively to protect the environment and control the climate change. And
Yes.
I think UK, United Kingdom, is one of the fifth country who has the veto power. So I urge to the UK government, which is always a friend of us, and our current Prime Minister was a long time UK resident. So I think we can talk about that. So how can we prevent the global change? We don't want the money that, okay, you kill someone or you destroy somebody's property, then you pay money. That does not solve the problem. So we don't want the grants that impacted the people in the seashore, people all over the Asia, or affected by the global warming. We don't want the money, and but rather you stop the producing the power using the coal.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the UK, I think I'm not sure if there's any coal power station working at the moment. We've got mainly gas, the ones that we've got, and nuclear. So, and obviously there's a net zero target for
Yes, in UK they are always
renewables.
Of course, UK is compliant, but I'm saying UK has the diplomatic power and connection to uprise the voice of anti-coal based power plant, because China is still using a lot of their 60% power plant are run by coal. India has 40% run by coal, and in fact, India established a coal-based power plant in Bangladesh, in Rampal, just neck of the Sundarban. So the Bangladeshi Dr. Anu Muhammad, I think he is a environmental activist, world famous. His name is Anu Muhammad.
Yes.
He even was threatened for getting killed if he stopped his uprising his voice against the coal-based that time. But that fascist regime then did not listen to anybody. They established that coal-based power plant in Rampal, in Khulna, next, just less than 10 miles away from the Sundarban, where the coal are actually carrying over through those river channel of the Sundarban. And that fascist regime, they did not listen. So they give approval, all the environmentalists of Bangladesh, and some of them even, in fact, put into the jail. Okay.
Well, that's why Sheikh Hasina is now resident in India, isn't it?
Say again?
That's the reason why Sheikh Hasina is now resident in India.
Yes, because she's more working for India than the prosperity of Bangladesh. Okay. Yes. And more likely now, India requested him to leave India and go some other country, but she don't want to go. She don't want to go Qatar. She don't want to go any other places. Okay. So I hope the new government, the BNP, they should listen the norms of the people's heart. And you, of course, as a very much amateur journalist also, you may of course know that the July manifesto that you have shared a lot of picture with us for this episode has not yet been accepted, although you was a election observatory team from UK have seen that people has voted for two reasons: to selected their parliament member to vote either BNP or Jamaat Islami or NCP, and they also vote for yes, which is more than 60% people voted for yes to change and modification of the government system and the constitution, and that is called July Manifesto.
Yes.
A total reform reform of the government and the constitution. Now, do you have any opinion about that, or if you do you want to call the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Mr. Tariq Rahman, on the same regard as a perspective of a election observatory member, also a concerned UK citizen who are part of the history. You are part of the history of the historical election of Bangladesh, where people voted tremendously as their Eid. You remember that you was mentioning that people are saying it was Eid, like a
Yes.
festival. Now, I urge you, if you can give us some of the insight of your view and what you want to say to the government and the parliamentary ruling party, please.
Well, while we were there, we met a number of Dr. Hussein's friends are members of the government, and we met some of those after the election, after they'd been elected, and they were all very pleased of not just the fact they've been elected, but also the result of the referendum. And I say I've worked for almost 30 years in local government in the UK, so I understand that change within local government is a slow thing, and for the Parliament to actually vote through the changes, it's not something they can just do overnight. It will take. You can't. I mean, it's what? It's just 6 weeks probably since the election, so I think to expect the government to have made all those changes by now is not really realistic, because there were so many. When I wasn't really aware of the problems with the previous government until I went to Bangladesh and I spoke to people and they explained what had happened. And what I will say to anyone listening, if you ever go to Dhaka and you get the opportunity, go to the July Museum. You go to the July Museum and go to the tour, and you watch the video at the end, you will understand just how bad things were. I know people who lived in Bangladesh realised it was bad, but I didn't realise just how bad it was until I went to the July Museum. And you've got some photos there, and of statues, and if you've got time, the stories behind those statues, which I'd love to be able to tell people, because it shows just how the people of Bangladesh stood up to the previous regime during that July, and the cost of the number of people who were martyred during that period. And I think that's something that everybody from Bangladesh and from the world really needs to understand. And until you go and see that museum, you will not understand it. So anyway, go back to your point. I believe that the government will make those changes, but it isn't something they can do in a short time. They've got to look at the impact of those changes and bring them in an ordered and structured way so that they actually work. It's easy to just pass a law and say these are the laws changed, but if you look at what those changes are, they need to be brought in a way that they can actually work. It's no good just changing the law. You need to make sure you change it in a way that the law will work and it will improve people's lives. So I fully understand why it hasn't happened, but I do honestly believe, having spoken to the people who were elected to the government, that they do intend to do it, and they will do it, but they'll do it in a way that benefits the people of Bangladesh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Colin. We'll take a break now. প্রিয় দর্শক, আমরা কথা বলছিলাম আমাদের সম্মানিত গেস্ট, উনি আমেরিকান ব্রিটিশ ইলেকশনের ফার্স্ট কাউন্সিল মেম্বার. He was a part of the UK election system also as a officer and his profession. উনি একজন আইটি এবং সিস্টেম ইঞ্জিনিয়ার ইউকেতে, বাংলাদেশে যিনি গিয়েছেন. উনি বলছেন যে বাংলাদেশ সরকার জনগণের রায়কে, ম্যান্ডেটকে সম্মান করা উচিত. সরকারের হয়তো সময় লাগতে পারে, কিন্তু সে সময়টা যাতে খুব দীর্ঘ সময় না হয়, যাতে জনগণ সরকারের উপর আস্থা এবং ধৈর্যটা ধরে রাখতে পারে, এবং সরকার যাতে জনগণের আস্থাটা অর্জন করতে পারে, জনগণ যাতে এটা বিশ্বাস করতে শুরু করতে পারে যে এই সরকার জুলাইয়ের আন্দোলনকে নিয়ে আন্তরিক, যেটা মিস্টার কলিন শর্ট বলছিলেন যে উনি জুলাই মিউজিয়ামে যদি না যেতেন উনি বুঝতেন না আসলে যে জুলাইটা আসলে কতটা গভীরে এর শেকড় গ্রথিত। কতটা মানুষ কতটা আবেগ এবং কতটা আত্মদান করলে পরে এরকম একটা জুলাই বিপ্লব সম্ভব হয়, যেখানে একজন রিক্সাওয়ালা তার রিক্সার উপর দাঁড়িয়ে সেলিউট দিচ্ছে, ঠেলা গাড়িওয়ালা ঠেলাতে করে একজন আহত জুলাই যোদ্ধাকে হাসপাতালে নিয়ে যাচ্ছে। এই যে জুলাইয়ের যে মিউজিয়াম, এটা ডক্টর ইউনূস সাহেবের একটা অবিস্মরণীয় চিন্তা। আমি আবারও এই অনুষ্ঠানের মাধ্যমে কৃতজ্ঞ চিত্তে আমাদের সাবেক সরকার প্রধান এবং প্রফেসর ডক্টর মোহাম্মদ ইউনূসকে ধন্যবাদ জানাই। তো যেটা মিস্টার কলিন শর্ট বলছিলেন যে আমাদেরকে জুলাইকে যদি ভুলে যাই, আসলে আমরা আমাদের পায়ের নিচে থেকে মাটিটা আমরা হারিয়ে ফেলবো। তো প্রিয় দর্শক, আমাদের সাথে থাকুন, আমরা আবারও একটা বিরতির পরে আবার ফিরছি আপনাদের সাথে এই অনুষ্ঠানে আরো কিছু অভিজ্ঞতা শেয়ার করব, যাতে বাংলাদেশকে একটা ট্যুরিজম কান্ট্রিতে পরিণত করা যায়। থ্যাংক ইউ।
মাইটেক ইউএসএ, কম্পিউটার ট্রেনিং এবং কর্মসংস্থান। আমরা দ্রুত সময়ে উচ্চতম বেতনে চাকরি পাওয়া ও আইটি ক্যারিয়ারের দক্ষতার সাথে টিকে থাকার নিশ্চয়তা দিয়ে থাকি। বাংলাদেশি আমেরিকান অভিবাসীদেরকে অগ্রাধিকার ভিত্তিতে সার্বিক প্রশিক্ষণের মাধ্যমে দক্ষ ডেটাবেস অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেটর হিসেবে মাত্র 5 মাসের মধ্যে প্রস্তুত করে বিশাল আইটির চাকরির বাজারে দুর্দান্ত প্রতিযোগী হিসেবে নিয়োজিত করি। আমরা আপনার উন্নত, সহজ ও সচ্ছল জীবনের স্বপ্ন পূরণে সততার সাথে সবচাইতে আধুনিক প্রযুক্তি প্রশিক্ষণ দানে সর্বদা সজাগ দৃষ্টি ও সক্ষমতা সহ আপনার সেবায় নিয়োজিত। আমাদের সাথে যোগ দিন। সহজ মাসিক কিস্তিতে কোর্স করে নিজের ভাগ্য নিজেই বদলান। আমরা $500 রেফারেল বোনাস দিয়ে থাকি। ভর্তি চলছে। আমাদের কোর্স সমূহের মধ্যে আছে ডেটাবেস অ্যাডমিনিস্ট্রেশন ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং, MongoDB, Azure, Microsoft, SQL Server, NoSQL, Oracle। আজই আপনার বিশ্বস্ত আইটি প্রতিষ্ঠান মাইটেক ইউএস এর সাথে যোগাযোগ করুন।
Phone number 929-435-3696, 571-208-5450, 813-767-4600।
এছাড়া আমাদের ইমেইল করতে পারেন। আমাদের ইমেল আইডি ziaahamed@ymail.com। ধন্যবাদ।
প্রিয় দর্শক, আপনাদেরকে আবারও স্বাগতম আমাদের আজকের এই অনুষ্ঠানে। আপনাদের সামনে যে বিদেশি ভদ্রলোকটি বসে আছেন, উনি এমন একজন লোক যিনি বাংলাদেশের একজন একনিষ্ঠ সাপোর্টার এবং ভক্ত। তিনি নিজে বাংলাদেশকে ভালোবাসেন বিধায় বাংলাদেশের নিজের খরচে ছুটে গিয়ে বাংলাদেশকে সহযোগিতা করেছেন। আমরা নিশ্চয় স্মরণ করতে ভুলবো না যে বাংলাদেশের মুক্তিযুদ্ধের সময় এরকম অনেক বিদেশিরা বাংলাদেশের পক্ষে কাজ করেছিলেন। উনি সেরকমই একজন যিনি জুলাইকে ওনার হৃদয়ে ধারণ করেছেন। যেরকম জর্জ হ্যারিসন যুক্তরাষ্ট্রের মেডিসন স্কোয়ারে গার্ডেনে কনসার্ট করেছিলেন, কনসার্ট ফর বাংলাদেশ, এবং মুক্তিযুদ্ধের উপরে বাংলাদেশ সচেতন করেছিলেন। এছাড়াও আমরা জানি যে অস্ট্রেলিয়ান এবং অস্ট্রেলিয়ান নাগরিক উইলিয়াম আব্রাহাম সাইমন ওভারল্যান্ড, যিনি ঢাকায় অবস্থান করে আপনার মুক্তিযুদ্ধের সময় সাংবাদিক এবং তথ্য দিয়ে এবং বিভিন্ন ধরনের বিরোচিত ভূমিকার জন্য পরবর্তীতে উনি বীর প্রতীক খেতাবে ভূষিত হন। সো আই এম কনভার্টিং দ্যাট টু ইংলিশ নাও। মিস্টার কলিন শর্ট, as a Bangladeshi nation, we are always give the due diligence to the people who help the Bangladeshis in many different historical events. For example, in 1971 war, during that time, George Harrison, a pop singer of United States of America, he actually arranged a concert named Concert for Bangladesh in the Madison Square in the heart of the New York to help the Bangladeshi and to get a movement more familiar to the entire world that what's going on in Bangladesh at that time. Nonetheless, also there is another foreigner. He is a Dutch Australian. I think his parent, one of them is from Dutch and Denmark, another one from Australia. So he's basically Australian citizen. Name was William Abraham Simon Overland. Yeah. So he actually even in fact physically helped the guerrillas of the 1971 war uh, for standing beside the Bangladesh in that crisis in 1971. And then later, the government of Bangladesh actually recognize him as the Bir Pratik. This is one of the respected title. For example, like Bir Srishto, who actually the martyr, there's the highest rank. Then the Bir Uttam is like President Ziaur Rahman, the father of current Prime Minister. His father, he was a Bir Uttam. So Bir Pratik is been given to Mr. William Abraham Simon that time. So since you are part of the history, and I am not actually over apprising you, I am actually correctly apprising you because you went to Bangladesh in such a crucial time that the Bangladeshi one entire generation, they never voted for more than a decade because there was no election was been rigged. The election has been rigged or been driven away, or people the vote without voters. So the election that happened in 12th of February all over the world, Bangladesh, the general election of 2026, that should be actually was scheduled to held on 2029 if the July activists, the July martyrs not give up their lives, and some of them are severely wounded. They are blind, maybe they are maybe lost their legs or hands. Those people have an unbelievable sacrifice, led the nation to a free and fair election, not in 2029, in 2026. Just because of those people and their sacrifice, their lives, their family, and some people, they died, the worker, he's the only earning source of his family member, and left behind, give his their lives. I would not say one person, many people like that, their lives. That July movement, police was shooting them from the blank zero point, that whatever it's called, and they left behind their old parents, who was their dependent, or their young children who become now orphan. Okay, so this election would not be taken place in 2020. Rather, it would be taken place in 2029, whether a massive doubt that whether their election will be another free or fair election. So that's why I'm saying this historical election, standing on a ground of July revolution, done by a young youth, even underage kid, was pushing the police. You have seen those videos, I'm sure, or not, then Dr. Hassan Hussain can actually show you those videos, the work that been done that whole 1 month July, and they named the 36th day of the July. They did not accept the August because they want to see the spirit, that they don't want the July to be ended. Their sacrifice cannot be ended. That's why they call it 36th July. And of course, we know the July is 31 day long. So why they take it to? So they want to see the regime will go away. So they counted down the 36th July. The regime actually flew away from Bangladesh. And on that background and on that ground of the bloodshed of 2,000 lives, for this election to bring out and restore the democracy for the people of Bangladesh. And you are part of this history, Mr. Colin Short. So I would urge you to take this contribution that you have made as a foreigner, as a British citizen, now become a part of this democratic establishment system. So you will continue your beacon on your hand and the flag for the democracy, and you spread it over for the rest of their life, so the Bangladeshi people can have their freedom of speech, their freedom of their right and practice of the democracy. so that we cannot see that there is no more regime will be cultivated and practice the fascism, including this government. So why I'm saying it, I'm actually now going to the next phase. You will, of course, say something about that, and please give a message to our new government. And then I'll come to the tourism possibility, and then we'll be overing our finishing our show today. So, Mr. Colin Powell, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I mean, you've got some photos there at the July Museum, and the one that's probably most relevant to the discussion you just had is the one of all the grave. Well, they're not pure graves, but within the July Museum there's a field, and in that field there are mounds, and each mound represents the death of one of the martyrs. And around the edge of the field is every one of those martyrs, their name is engraved on a plate. And that's why it's so important for people to go there. I've been telling my friends in the UK about my visit. None of them understood what was happening in Bangladesh until I explained it to them. Obviously, the Bangladeshi community would have done, but most of my friends are people who were born in Britain. Their families go back centuries. There was no real coverage in the UK of what was happening in Bangladesh until the uprising in July, and even then, it represented probably 1 or 2 minutes on an evening news program for a week or so. But I was more aware because Dr. Hussain explained was talking to me about what was going on, and I don't believe that the people of Bangladesh, after all their sacrifices in that July, and the families, as you said, the people who are still injured, they've still got to live their lives. They can't even work. They can't support their families. Those people need to be supported by the government and by the people of Bangladesh through their taxes, because they gave their lives and their futures in order that the people of Bangladesh could live in a free society. It's almost a similar sort of thing to the Second World War in the UK, where people gave their lives for democracy, so that they weren't overrun by a fascist regime. And it's important. I really do believe that, having spoken to, as I said earlier, the people I spoke to who are part of the new government, they do understand that, and I'm sure they will do what's best for the country. But I would urge them, as you say, to do that, as soon as possible, so that the people who made the sacrifices haven't done that for nothing at all.
Thank you. So now I'm going to shift a little bit of other way.
Yeah.
So during your 1 month travel to Bangladesh, which is really a notable length of time, you have been always with Dr. Hassan Hussain, and he had traveled all the major districts and cities, including Dhaka. And you saw, and you actually also interviewed the people of Bangladesh. The people are mass people. So what I am asking you, it's a serious question, by the way. Do you gonna be agree with me that the greatest strength of Bangladesh as a nation is their hospitality? They pay for their guests. Do you agree with that?
There is no question whatsoever about that. I would, as I said previously, I believe, I couldn't ask to have met more generous, kind, and friendly people than all the people I met in Bangladesh, from people who are multi-millionaires down to just people, just normal people. I'll give you one example. While we were at Sundarban, our car got stuck in some sand, and there were probably 10, 15, 20 local people who came to help. They weren't getting paid. They weren't doing it for any other reason than that they were doing it just to help. And again, we had a similar sort of problem. As a result of that car getting stuck, the car broke down on the way back to Corner. And luckily, we broke down in a small village, and we found a mechanic who came to help us. And that mechanic actually drove us back all the way back to Corner, because our car was broken completely, and he arranged for the actual vehicle to be towed back to Corner. And we stopped in a little cafe, which was really a shed, and we had tea and cakes supplied by the young man and his wife who were running the cafe. And it was just the same everywhere we went. People were kind and generous. Everywhere we went, every time we visited somewhere, there was tea or coffee and food of some kind. So the hospitality and the kindness of people in Bangladesh, there was no. It's not a question. You couldn't criticise it. It was far in excess of what anyone would expect, to be honest. And you've seen you've got the photographs of the meals that we were given in different places, and I couldn't expect. I couldn't expect the people of Bangladesh to be more friendly and kind than they were, and more so than a lot of people I've met in the UK. So,
okay. Thank you. And now I'm going to go to further tougher and controversial question to you, and please be ready for it. So first of all, I'm going to give you a little bit of synopsis of it. So in the practice of democracy in United Kingdom, because it was a huge, the British Kingdom was a word that never gets sunset. So, but the EU keep the kingdom and the kings as their legacy, like a symbolic kingship. But you actually practicing a parliamentary democracy in practice for decades and hundreds of years. Am I correct?
Yes.
Now, Bangladesh has started the parliamentary democracy after, in 1990, the dictator general, Army General Hossein Muhammad Ershad, the people give their lives at that time also. So this is the part, I would say, the weakness of Bangladeshi people, as they have some good strength. The weakness is the Bangladeshis are emotional, but at the same time, they are always I'm repeating again, they are always try to remain loyal to who? The people who are the savior for their lives and for their system. For example, one of them is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the chief of Awami League. So people follow him and continue his dynastic politics. So after he been died or get killed, his daughter Sheikh Hasina continue his father political party, which is a dynastic politics. Now we see that now her son Shojib Wajed Joy lives in America, and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, another daughter, Sheikh Rehana's daughter, lives in UK. In fact, she is a parliamentarian. I know you of course know her, right?
I've not met her, so I know of her.
She is a parliamentarian in UK.
Yes,
but she's working hard to bring back the dynastic politics of Sheikh Hasina. Okay,
I wasn't aware of that.
But although she is a British parliamentarian member, she is actually accused for corruption and excising the power, occupying the property, and like the villa, the resort with the name of his father is Mr. Siddiqui, his mother Sheikh Rehana, and her name is Tulip Siddiqui. So
Yes.
they was being summoned by the court of Bangladesh for exercising the unethical power and occupy the millions of dollars of properties in Bangladesh, as well as using the power. She actually get a gift of a massive, highly expensive property by one of the minister of Bangladesh, has the property in London. So she actually get that property, and she could not present the source of the income that she purchased or she get or she occupied that property in UK. That her name is Tilip Siddiqui. Why I'm saying it, not to give the message. So the people of Bangladesh, their weaknesses is the emotion and the loyalty to the family, like the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman dynastic politics, which again now become a nepotism, because now Sheikh Hasina again re-established her cousins, okay, her siblings in the massive parliamentarian, ministerial, and other power political appointees, okay. Whereas now the ruling party of Bangladesh, now BNP, although they are committed to not to practice the dynastic politics, they are also, the Bangladeshi people again voted, not because that BNP has done tremendous work in their previous time when they was in power in 1991 to 2000, 1991 to 1996, or 2001 to 2006. They was in power 2 times. But after passing of Begum Khaleda Zia, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, now her son, Tariq Rahman, the son of Ziaur Rahman, became the Prime Minister, not just because he is the most qualified person, just because he became Prime Minister and the party chief because he is the son of Ziaur Rahman and the Khaleda Zia. So, and the Bangladeshi people, the 180 million people, out of them 110 million people voted and practiced their exercise their voting rights, but they again became emotional and voted and remained their loyalty towards the family and dynastic politics. And therefore Tariq Rahman, who was abroad for 17 years,
Yes, he was living in London, wasn't he?
yes, he was in England, and he was not part of that July movement. Just because of his family and dynastic background, he became the Prime Minister. So this now, again, the recently what happened, the Bangladesh Cricket Board, you know, of course, the Bangladesh.
I know about the story about India and the fact, and that,
yeah.
as we were
So,
flying.
so recently, the Bangladesh Cricket Board, which is called BCB, get reformed, okay? And within that BCB, the new appointee are the directors of the BCB now are the son of Salahuddin is the minister, son of some other minister, and so that is become a practice of place of nepotism. So their father are now the chief of the BNP's ministers, okay? Maybe wives of the ministers. Because of that's the only qualifications that they have to achieve that appointment to become a board of director of the Bangladesh Cricket Board. So what we can expect if we practice a democracy that we inherit from United Kingdom, the parliamentarian democracy, whereas we can see even for a minor mistake, the Prime Minister of UK never hesitate to resign. The Minister of UK, they never hesitate to resign. But in Bangladesh, we inherit that democracy, but we just want to grasp the power. And we also give our wife, our children to become minister or something. So how can we get out of that as you are part of the election practice and the election commission officer in UK? Please advise the nation, please.
Well, I mean, I listened to what you said. And I wasn't aware of what happened with the cricket board. I was thinking more in terms of prior to the election when India, there was this issue about India not being able to provide sufficient protection for the Bangladeshi team. So I misunderstood where you was going with the question. But going back to the actual question, it seems to me, from the way you've described it, it's a cultural issue, isn't it? Would it be true to say that outside of the government, similar things happen? Because if they do, then it really shows that there's a cultural issue within Bangladesh where, so, I mean, I'm saying these things, but I don't know if I'm right. So please If I'm wrong, please say so. But would you say that nepotism is something that goes on throughout Bangladesh, whether it's in the government, whether it's in business, whether it's in
Everywhere.
education?
Everywhere. After
In
a
that case,
government change, yes.
if that's the
This is
case,
happening
then
again. So this is being continued. Go ahead.
yeah, if that is the case, it goes throughout all strata of society, then it's a cultural issue that you're not going to change that.
It's not that an emotional weakness of people of Bangladesh. They should overcome it. So how can we overcome that? Being a loyalty to the family. So if Jia Rahman was helping us during the Liberation War, that doesn't mean that his children has to be always the ruler.
No, I agree.
How can we overcome and how can we stay away of this weakness and overcome our weakness to being loyal and being emotional to the family and dynastic politics and nepotism? Please.
You need to move towards a meritorious society, don't you? Whereby people who can do a particular job, the best gets those positions. So, in the case of a cricket board, I would guess that you'd want people who are international.
The cricket board is just an example.
Yes, I know,
but in every sector.
Yes, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that if we use that as an example, you would want the people running the cricket board to be, say, international cricketers or managers of cricket teams or umpires, people who understand the game, but who are actually given something back to society. So from what you've described it to me, if it is truly a society where nepotism is going to move throughout it, it means that everybody throughout society needs to change their attitude. It's not just, you can't just put it onto the government it's everybody. And once everybody does that, and people are given a position in government or business or anywhere in society, they get that position because of their ability rather than their who they know. Yeah. I mean, so if you take my trip to Bangladesh, for example,
we always make mistake because we are emotional. I mean, as I said, our strength is our offering our hospitality to regardless of any people all over the world. Weakness is we always again trust, and we have always been cheated and end up with giving lives. So we give lives in 1971. We give lives in 1990. We again give thousands of lives. Okay, and one killing could impact 100 people of their family member. So and then we make the same mistake again in 2024 after giving lives. Now in 2026 we again elected and voted who actually practice the loyalty to the kinship, to the family and the family dynasty, and as well as the nepotism. So, and then we again saying, okay, we made another mistake, so let's again stand opposition, but by the time it's too late, so we have to again give the blood and lives. So how can you see this weakness, Mr. Colin Powell, as you are not a Bangladeshi, but from a bird eye, for example, you are flying over Bangladesh, and how can we get out of it? Is there any way that you can tell us?
If I could tell you the answer to that, I'd be Prime Minister of the UK. From the way we've discussed this, it is only something it's got to be something that can change the whole of Bangladeshi society and the way people think. So probably the only way to do that realistically in the long term is through education.
And I would not ask you that if you are a origin from China or North Korea or Russia. You are a citizen of such a country where, as I mentioned earlier, that even a prime minister don't hesitate to resign for even a small elegance before even being proven. Even the ministers do the same practice. So, how you would welcome our political leader to practice the same?
I mean, don't think that the British government is immune to the nepotistic society. You've only got to look at what's happened with Keir Starmer and Peter Mandelson, and how the corruption. Peter, I mean, we have to be careful what I say, or I'll end up in court. But Peter Mandelson has had to resign from government on a number of occasions years ago.
Yeah.
So when you suddenly make him ambassador to the US, what would make anyone think that he's changed? And and reality and time has proved that he hasn't changed. He's done the similar sort of things with America and people he knew in America that he did when he was a minister in the Labour government. So Britain isn't perfect either. It's at the end of the day, it's people. It's people that make the difference, and their standards of life. What do they believe in nepotism, or do they believe that everyone should be given a job on merit? And that's what. And it's, I say, the only way I can think of that would change is through education, where the people. It doesn't matter how much, whether people are rich or poor.
Yeah.
If they've got the ability to learn and to do a job properly, then that's what should. I mean, they should be able to get those jobs. I mean, going back to the uprising, that's what it was all about, wasn't it? Because the Sheikh Hussein had brought in a law that said that only people whose relatives were involved in the 1971 uprising, that only they could get jobs in the government. And so there were people who were young people who were going to university, they were getting good degrees, but they couldn't get a good job because the government had said, no, you can't, because you're some relative in the past wasn't part of the 1971 uprising. And that was, well, it's not good. If you do that, you're not going to get the best people in government, are you? You're not going to get the best people in the best job in jobs in business, because no matter how good they are and how committed they are,
yes,
it's basically you can't do it because something happened. Something in the past. It's a bit like the House of Lords in the UK with hereditary peers. So, like 500 years ago, someone fought at the side of a king.
That's most recent thing.
They were given a lot of land and a title, but now their children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren are now part of the UK government for something that they had no part in doing 500 years ago.
জি, প্রিয় দর্শক, আমরা অনুষ্ঠান শেষের দিকে কথা বলছিলাম যে বাংলাদেশের মানুষের সবচেয়ে শক্তির এবং গুণের বৈশিষ্ট্য দিক থেকে হচ্ছে শক্তির দিকটা হচ্ছে তাদের আতিথেয়তা এবং নিঃস্বার্থ আতিথেয়তা। দুর্বলতার দিকটা ছিল যে আমরা সবসময় আবেগ আপ্লুত হয়ে যাই আমাদের, এবং সেটার বিশ্বাস এবং বৈশ্যতা, পারিবারিক তন্ত্রের বৈশ্যতার কারণে আমরা বারবার দুঃখে ভুগি। আমরা 90 সালে ভুগেছি, আমরা 96 সালে আবার আন্দোলন করা লাগিয়েছে, আমাদেরকে আবার 2001 সালের সেই 1/11 দেখতে হয়েছে, এবং আবার 2008 সালেও সে পরিবারতন্ত্র দেখতে পাচ্ছি, যার শেষ হয়েছে 2024 সালে জুলাই বিপ্লব। কিন্তু এখনো আমরা সেই পরিবারতন্ত্রের ভিতরেই আছি। কিন্তু শুধু পরিবারতন্ত্র না, যেটা নেপটিজম যেটা বলছিলেন কলিন শর্ট, সেটা হচ্ছে যে আত্মীয়করণ, স্বজন প্রীতি, যেটা আমরা রিসেন্টলি দেখতে পাচ্ছি আমাদের বাংলাদেশ ক্রিকেট বোর্ডে ঘটে গিয়েছে। তো আমাদেরকে এটা থেকে বের হয়ে আসতে হবে। এটা একজন ব্রিটিশ নাগরিক যেটা বললেন যে আমরা যদি অতীত থেকে শিক্ষা না নেই, তাহলে আমরা ভবিষ্যতের জন্য ভিত্তি রচনা করতে পারবো না। আর আমি জানি না ন্যাড়া বারবার বেলতলায় যায় কিনা। আমরা আজকে অনুষ্ঠান আর বেশি দীর্ঘায়িত করব না। আমি আরেকটি প্রশ্নের উত্তর নিয়ে আমি অনুষ্ঠান শেষ করব। Lastly, Mr. Colin Short, I was just summarizing what our conversation in Bengali. So, would you be considering to travel again to Bangladesh? Most likely, like if so, then how soon are you thinking for a follow-up visit?
If the opportunity arises, I would definitely go back. At the moment, I've got no plans to go back, although I'm sort of discussing various things with Dr. Hussein about things that we could do. I mean, one of the things I wanted to talk about really was a visit to Sylhet and the kidney hospital, which is a charity, and they provide free care for people who can't afford it. If you've got kidney issues, and it's a fantastic charity. We went there, as some photos earlier, and they base their charges on people's ability to pay. So someone who can pay would pay for all their treatment. Some people might just pay for prescriptions. Others get everything for free. And that sort of charity needs to, the government needs to look at those sort of things and provide additional funding for them, not just the funding from the public.
Okay. Thank you. Lastly, I would ask you one question.
Yeah.
Would you be the friends of Bangladesh forever?
Yes. No
If
question.
so, would you be always raise your hand or flag or your concern for the betterment of Bangladesh in terms of the preserving the nature, controlling the climate change, as well as the uplifting the democracy and democratic practice, as well as all the good thing that is happening in Bangladesh? You will promote those to bigger circle in worldwide, of course, throughout also the Voice for Global Bangladesh's platform, including, and also to come out of these family loyalty and family dynastic politics and nepotism. Would you
If the opportunity arises, definitely.
Okay, so you will be friend for us as
Yes.
the people of Bangladesh.
No question whatsoever.
Thank you, and I really like to thank you for that, and remain grateful as a Bangladeshi origin. Thank you, Mr. Colin Short. I will see you whether in Bangladesh or in our show here today.
I hope so.
For your valuable time and all the beautiful memories that you share with us. We look forward to see you again. Thank you very much. Have a good evening and
Thank
enjoy
you.
the rest of the day.
Thank you for inviting me back. I've enjoyed it.
You're most welcome.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.